Okay. Now, are there any questions from last week or any week for that matter before we start with chapter 10? Okay. All right. Then I'll get going. Change the view to speaker.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry. You know how you were talking about about the glories of Charanamrita last week?
Yes.
Some of us exited the class because it was a little late. Is that also recorded, Prabhu? I haven't still listened to your recording from last week, but is it also recorded in that? The recording is...
it was recorded, and I
right?
believe I sent the recording.
Yeah, you sent the recording, but I haven't listened to it, so I'm just...
Okay, yeah. So towards the end was the discussion.
Yeah,
yeah, it's
so
all
it is recorded, right?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Welcome. Anyone else? Anything? Okay, all right. So let's start with chapter 10. The title is Techniques of Hearing and Remembering. So hearing is what we know as, excuse me, Shravanam. And just as for chanting, we talked about, or Kirtan, I should say, talked about 3 types of Kirtan. Same thing with Shravanam, 3 types of Shravanam: Nam Shravanam, Charit Shravanam, and Guna Shravanam. Okay, all right. So would somebody like to start reading from the first paragraph, chapter 10?
I can start, Prabhuji, if you want.
Yes, Prabhuji, please go ahead. Page 89 for everyone else.
Hearing, the beginning of Krishna consciousness and devotional service is hearing. In Sanskrit called Shravanam. All people should given the chance to come and join devotional parties so they may hear. This hearing is very important for progressing in Krishna.
Prabhu, you froze. Is everybody froze, or can you hear me?
No, Prabhuji.
No, Prabhu,
We can hear you, Prabhu, but we cannot
Everybody
hear
okay.
reader.
Everybody okay, Prabhuji.
Okay, so I think he's frozen. So
Yeah.
let somebody just continue from there. I think also 2 lines left. This hearing is very important for progressing in Krishna consciousness. When one links his ears to give oral reception to the transcendental vibrations, he can quickly become purified and cleansed in the heart. Lord Chaitanya has affirmed that this hearing is very important. It cleanses the heart of the contaminated soul so that he becomes quickly qualified to enter into devotional service and understand Krishna consciousness. So, does it remind you of any particular verse, very famous verse? Anyone?
Chetu Darpan Marjanam.
Chetu Darpan Marjanam, exactly right. So that's the first verse from Shikshashtakam. And actually, the holy name of the Lord is sometimes compared with a broom. Just like a broom cleans a dirty room full of dust, similarly, the holy name of the Lord acts like a broom in cleansing our heart, the contamination in our heart. And when that contamination is removed, contamination in the form of what? Anybody? What form does the contamination of the heart take? A different...
In the form of anarthas.
Anarthas, which are same as material desires.
Yes.
Right? So material desires, anarthas, they are the contamination of the heart or the consciousness. And the holy name acting as a broom cleans it up. And that is the meaning of Cheto Darpa Marjanam. Because there, Lord Chaitanya is comparing the heart or the consciousness with a mirror, as opposed to the analogy of the room that I gave. But the idea is the same. The mirror of the consciousness being cleansed by the holy name. Okay. Next paragraph. Somebody would like to read next paragraph?
I can read, Prabhu.
Go ahead, please. Yeah.
In the Garuda Purana, in the Garuda Purana, the stress on hearing is expressed very nicely. It is said there, the state of conditioned life in the material world is just like that of a man lying unconscious, having been bitten by a snake. This is because both such unconscious states can be ended by the sound of a mantra. When a man is snake bitten, he does not die immediately, but first becomes unconscious and remains in a comatose condition. Anyone who is in the material world is also sleeping, as he is ignorant of his actual self or his actual duty and his relationship with God. So, materialistic life means that one is bitten by the snake of Maya, illusion, and thus, without any Krishna consciousness, is almost dead. Now, the so-called dead man, bitten by a snake, can be brought back to life by the chanting of some mantra. There are expert chanters of these mantras who can perform this feat. Similarly, one can be brought back into Krishna consciousness from the deadly unconscious state of material life by hearing of the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai.
Yeah, thank you. So a quick question. We just read this paragraph. What three examples of ignorance have been given in this paragraph? We are ignorant of three things when we are sleeping in terms of not being Krishna conscious.
Prabhuji, 3 gunas.
No, you just read it. Just go based on this paragraph. We just read it. I was testing who's listening carefully. And you can just very quickly read the paragraph. You see three things that we are ignorant of when we are not in Krishna consciousness.
Prabhuji, the actual self, the actual duty, and his relationship with God.
Right. Thank you. So who's the actual self?
The spirit soul, Prabhu.
Spirit soul. So when we talk about self-realization, that's the first part of self-realization, that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. What's the second thing? Actual duty. What is our actual duty?
To serve Krishna.
To serve Krishna, exactly. To serve Krishna and Krishna's devotees is our actual duty. And the last is the relationship with the God. What is our relationship with the God?
That
We are his servant.
Servient. We are the servient.
Okay. Yes. So we are part and parcel, and as part and parcel, we are his servant. So this is the example of the benefit of Nam Shravan. So he's talking about the benefit of hearing the holy name. And that's why they give the example of the man bitten by a snake, and mantras, the proper mantras, wake him up. But I'll tell you something I witnessed when I was maybe 6-7 years old. And a man got bit by a snake, and they called this person who was reading mantras, and he had creating a lot of smoke, and he had a broom that he was hitting the body of the man with. And after about an hour, the man passed away. So I don't know why, but I never forgot that. But it was just an example of a fake guru reading fake mantras. As a result, a person dies. So similarly, in ISKCON, we always emphasize the right guru, and the word we use is bona fide guru. And we define bona fide guru as one of the definitions. It must be in the Guru Parampara system. So must be in the disciplic succession. And then we talk about other qualifications, Jai Krishna Tapeta, Say Guru Hoy, Pachu Vegam, Manas Vegam, all those kind of things, many, many qualifications. But But the point is, it must be bona fide Guru who's teaching us the bona fide mantra, which is our Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Otherwise, instead of waking up, we'll dive even further and we're finished in terms of our Krishna consciousness. Okay, any questions on this paragraph?
Prabhuji, you remember that snake bite incident because you have to teach Nectar of Devotion many years later. Chapter
That's right.
10.
That's right. Exactly. There you go. Okay, somebody else to read the next paragraph, which talks about Charitra Shravana, the qualities.
Pranav?
I can do it. Prabhu.
Please go ahead.
Who is reading, Prabhu? Can I read it?
Yeah, we were just waiting for you.
Oh, in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 29 chapter, verse 40, the importance of hearing of the pastimes of Lord is stated by Sukadeva Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit. My dear king, one should stay at a place where the great acharyas, holy teachers, speak about the transcendental activities of the Lord. And one should give oral reception to the nectarian river flowing from the moon-like faces of such great personalities. If someone eagerly continues to hear such transcendental sounds, then certainly he will become freed from all material hunger, thirst, fear, and lamentation, as well as all illusions of material existence.
Right. So just going back to the last sentence, if someone eagerly continues to hear such transcendental sounds, then certainly he will become freed from all material hunger, thirst, fear, and lamentation, as well as illusions of the material existence. So can you think of a practical example that we read about in Srimad Bhagavatam of this particular thing?
Parikshit Maharaj.
Right. So what happened there?
7 days.
He did not eat, he did not drink, or he did not have to attend to the nature's call even.
Right. And Shukadeva Goswami made an offer. It's been 7 days, 5 days. And maybe you need a bio break. And he said, I'm enjoying so much nectar from your lotus mouth that I've lost all my hunger, thirst, etc., etc. And I have no doubts left in my mind. I just want to hear more and more and more. So that's what happens when you are eagerly hearing it. So now, how many of us eagerly hear Krishna Katha? Raise your hands, please. And why is that? We've heard it so many times that we should do that. Why is it that we're not so eager? Why is it that we don't pay so much attention? Why is it that we don't get enthusiastic about Krishna Katha? We know the benefits.
Because we don't have taste for it.
Yeah, that's definitely one reason. But what's the reason?
Dust accumulated on our hearts.
We have dust, yes, we have dust accumulated in our heart. But we know all that. Then how come we don't change it? Like we have read that, we've heard that many times, hundreds of times. But we still don't change it.
I think we all are eager, but the mind is always distracted.
That's true. Let me give you an example.
Because Prabhuji, is it? Sorry, Mataji, go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. It's okay. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that it's a gradual process, right? So we are chanting. The goal is to attain the taste. So the Cheto Darpan Marjanam is happening very, very slowly. So based on our the level of our purity, we'll get the taste one day, and then we'll be able to hear.
But why aren't we forcing us? Why aren't you rushing us? Like
because we
have a lot of time.
Huh?
We have no time.
Because Prabhu, Parikshit Maharaj knew he had 7 days and he wanted to use it in the service of the Lord. We don't know we are not serious about it. We take life for granted. We think we have all the time in the world to enjoy, and let me enjoy a little bit more. Yeah. that is
So
what I
except
thought.
we might have only 7 hours. He had 7 days. We might only have 7
Yeah,
hours.
that's what I was thinking, that at least Parikshit Maharaj knew he has 7 days. We don't even know if we have 7
Yeah.
minutes.
So what's happening?
Because of our material attachment, Prabhuji.
Okay, but it's more than that, right? It's more than that.
Prabhuji, is it we don't have Nishtha?
Well, that's definitely we don't have that. But so
Prabhuji,
basically,
is it like two finger shot? We have to first endeavor for it, and then we have Krishna's mercy also. Then only it will happen.
true, but endeavor begins first. So why? How come you're not endeavoring harder? So let me give you an example. I know that every one of you has flown at least once, if not many times, on an airplane. And before the airplane takes off, the flight attendant comes on, the safety announcement comes on, and the flight attendant will show the seat belt and exit signs and all those kind of things, what to do in emergency and all that. How many of us pay any attention to that? Zero,
Nobody.
almost zero. Almost
Yeah,
zero.
We are
Because we,
overconfident.
because we take it for granted that with us it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Now, same scenario. The pilot, you've been flying for 3 hours already, and the pilot comes on and malfunction, we are going to crash in the ocean. And then the flight attendant comes on and you start, the security and the safety instructions start coming out. How much attention would you pay there?
100%.
100%, 130%. Right? Right? Why is that? Why is that?
State of emergency, Prabhuji.
Right, that's exactly right. We don't think there's any emergency. आज करे सो कल कर, कल करे सो परसों, अभी से करके क्या करेगा, जीना है बरसों. Right? So we think we got years
That was
to
a
live.
past
What's the
example.
problem? We'll do it someday. We'll do it someday. And that's what gets us. What's the rush? What's the urgency? We got lots of time. And that just gets us. Before we know, you're facing Yamaraj. And so until we develop a sense of emergency in our heart, that we had enough lifetimes, millions of lifetimes as human being, to continue to suffer, enough, I don't want this anymore. I want to stop now. And we don't do that, and hence this whole thing just continues. Parikshit Maharaj said, enough. I got 7 days, I want to use it as well as I can, and then I'm done, I'm gone. And as a result, at the end of 7 days, he got up, took his bath and all that, sat down. He didn't know when Takshak came. He didn't know when he bit him. He didn't know when his body got burnt. He was gone. Gone in the sense of totally immersed in the thoughts of Krishna. And until we do that, we are continuing to buy our return ticket to material world. So that's something we have to be very cognizant of. Okay. Next paragraph.
May I, Prabhuji?
Please
Prabhu,
do.
what did you say? This is Prabhu Charitra Shravan. What did you say this is?
This is talking about the pastimes. So you can
No,
call it.
you said a word for that.
I said charitra. You could also say lila.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Charit basically means character, pastimes, things like that. Okay. Next
Sri
paragraph.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also recommended this process of hearing as a means of self-realization in the present age of Kali. In this age, it is very difficult to follow thoroughly the regulative principles and studies of the Vedas, which were formerly recommended. However, if one gives oral reception to the sound vibrated by great devotees and acharyas, that alone will give him relief from all material contamination. Therefore, it is the recommendation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that one should simply hear from authorities who are actually devotees of the Lord. Hearing from the professional men will not help. If we hear from those who are actually self-realized, then the nectarian rivers, like those which are flowing on the moon planet, will flow into our ears. This is the metaphor used in the above verse.
Right. So there's a couple of things here, both from Srimad Bhagavatam. In the, I think, I always get mixed up. It's either 12th or the 11th canto, where the Nav Yogendras are talking to King Nimi, and Karbhajan, one of Nav Yogendras, tells King Nimi that Kalo dosh nidhe rajan asti eko mahan guna kirti nadeva krishna se mukt sangha param brajet. He's saying that this age of Kali is full of faults, ocean of faults, but it has one great quality, and that is simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can be liberated, one can achieve liberation. So that's one point, again, emphasizing the importance of chanting. And then next verse he says, Krito dhayate Vishnu Tretayam yagyamak hai Dwapare parcharyayam tato kali hari kirtanat. He says that whatever we accomplished by performing austerities in the Satyug, or performance of these big yagyas in Treta Yuga, or opulent deities worship in Dwapar Yuga, all those results can be obtained simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord in the age of Kali. So again, same thing is being mentioned here, but an additional point is being made. Okay, hearing is good, but who do you want to hear from? So it says here, we hear from those who are actually self-realized, which means pure devotees. And there's another verse in Srimad Bhagavatam that talks about this exact point, and adds that just like milk is a healthy drink, but the milk touched by the lips of a snake becomes poison. So similarly, the same Krishna Katha coming out of the lips of a non-devotee or not such a good devotee becomes poisonous and has opposite effect. And the reason is given that the words that we hear are like a car. Think of it as an Uber ride. What does Uber ride do? Anybody? What's the function of Uber?
They take you from one place to another to your
Yeah.
destination.
So basically, it will deliver a passenger to wherever the destination is. Right? The words are like Uber. The destination is our ears. And the passenger being delivered is the consciousness of the speaker. So the same words, but contaminated by the contaminated consciousness of the speaker, contaminate our heart. But that's what's entering our heart. And therefore it becomes poison. So even though one may say, but it's Hari Katha, well, maybe, but it's not coming from the right source. There's a very nice metaphor given here that the words coming from a self-realized person are like nectarian rivers flowing on the moon planet. And those nectarian rivers flow into our ears when we hear from a pure devotee. But instead of nectarian river, it becomes a poisonous lava of a volcano, which is coming from the mouth of a non-devotee. Okay? Is that clear? Do you have any questions? If not, we'll go to the next paragraph.
Can I read it from?
Yes, Mataji, please do.
As stated in Bhagavad Gita, a materialistic person can give up his material hankerings only by becoming situated in Krishna consciousness. Unless one finds a superior engagement, he will not be able to give up his inferior engagement. In the material world, everyone is engaged in the illusory activities of the inferior energy. But when one is given the opportunity to relish the activities of the superior energy performed by Krishna, then he forgets all his lesser pleasures. When Krishna speaks on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, to the materialistic person, it appears that this is simply talk between two friends, but actually it is a river of nectar flowing down from the mouth of Sri Krishna. Arjuna gave oral reception to such vibrations, and thus he became freed from all the illusions of material problems.
Right. So can anybody guess what verse in Bhagavad Gita is talking about? Anyone? Okay, try 259. Vishya
250.
Vinivartante.
Yes, 250.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
250.
Vishya Vinivartante Niraharas Dehina Rasvarjam Rasopi Asya Param Drashtva Nivartate. Only when we have a higher object that we are willing to give up the inferior object. And so Krishna consciousness being a higher object allows us to give up the material consciousness. Otherwise, very, very difficult to give up. And second thing I was thinking about is that the word nectar is being used again. And again, the idea is nectar revives an almost dead person. So similarly, hearing the Krishna's name and activities and pastimes revives our almost dead consciousness and brings us from material consciousness to Krishna consciousness. Okay. Any questions or comments? Okay, then let's go to the next paragraph. Any takers?
I'll read it, Prabhuji.
Please do.
In the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd chapter, verse 15, it is stated, a person who desires unalloyed devotional service to Lord Krishna, who is praised by transcendental sound vibrations, should always hear about his glorification and transcendental qualities. This will surely kill all kinds of inauspiciousness in the heart.
Yeah. So now it's talking about the transcendental qualities, which is guna. So guna shravanam. So hearing the qualities of the Lord. And of course, we talked about the pastimes, activities, and name already. All those things purify the consciousness of the person and therefore kill all kinds of inauspiciousness in the heart. So once again, there's a very famous verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 2, text 17, I think. Shrunatam Sukatha Krishna Punya Shavan Kirtanam Hidi Antastaya Bhadrani Vidnoti Swarsatam. Says that as soon as we start hearing Krishna Katha about his name, about his pastimes, about his qualities, then he removes all the abhadrani, inauspiciousness from our heart, and we become pure and therefore start to enjoy the nectar of the holy name, the qualities, pastimes of the Lord, and get rid of any inauspiciousness and any material consciousness. Okay. Any questions? All right. So very smart people today. Nobody asking questions. Everything's crystal clear. All right. So let's move on to the next paragraph. Expecting the Lord's mercy. Who's expecting it?
I'll read it, Prabhuji.
He'll be there. Two people raise their hand. Everybody else says, I already got it. I don't care. Okay. So read, please, somebody.
In the 10th canto, 14th chapter, verse 8, it is said, my dear Lord, any person who is constantly awaiting your causeless mercy to be bestowed upon him, and who goes on suffering the resultant actions of his past misdeeds, offering you respectful obeisances from the core of his heart, is surely eligible to become liberated, for it has become his rightful claim.
Wow. So this is again a very famous verse. Anybody knows who might have said that in Bhagavatam? What personality? Clue, he has 4 heads. Now I know
Lord
everybody's
Brahma.
sleeping.
Sorry, Brahmaji.
Yes.
Brahmaji.
Yes, Lord Brahma. Okay, so what is Lord Brahma? Sorry. So the verse.
I was muted, that's why you couldn't hear Brahma. I was on mute, you couldn't hear Brahma.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Prabhu. So basically, the verse is very, very famous verse. It goes something like Tatte anukampam susamikshmano bhunjam bhunjam evatmakritam pipakam hidvag vapabis vididhan namaste jivet yo sada mukta padesa daya bhag. Which basically says that anybody who accepts whatever difficulties come to him as part of their karma and simply waits for Lord's mercy to make things right, that person actually becomes a rightful heir to the Lord's kingdom. Can you believe that? That's all it takes. So now you can say, okay, fine. What you said is fine because that's what it says right here in the book. But why are the devotees getting into trouble? What's the difference between the trouble that devotees get into and trouble that karmis get into? What's the use of becoming a devotee if you're going to get troubles anyway? So what do you say to that?
Prabhuji, I have something to say.
Please do.
Okay, so becoming a devotee, you offer all the results to Krishna. So nothing goes on you. You don't go back to the cycle of karma, vikarma, everything is akarma.
Okay.
And when you are doing just good deeds or just bad deeds, you're still getting entangled into the karmic reactions. So there's a huge difference between the two. And of course, the first one is better.
Okay. All right. So then doesn't answer the question. So why does the devotee get into trouble if all he's doing is akarma?
Because of the previous lives, because of the previous.
Okay. Sure. So then the next question is, so because of the previous life's karmas, devotee and non-devotee, they're both getting in trouble. What's the difference?
To improve the
Prabhuji,
future.
the same example.
Sorry, Mataji, go
let her
ahead.
finish. No, let her finish, please. Nana, go ahead.
Sorry, Mataji.
Yeah.
So, Prabhu, so that we don't get the future troubles. So whatever we're getting right now is happening because of the past reactions, the karmas, we're facing difficulties. Yes.
Okay.
But in the future, so it does not repeat, the cycle does not go on.
Okay, so what you're saying is that because in this life, I'm not doing any karmas or vikarmas, in the future, I will not have any difficulties. But that makes one assumption. Is that what you said? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes one assumption. And that is all your accumulated karmas were resulting to something in this very life. but you probably forgot about the big bucket I talked about once. And Krishna only takes lota full. The rest of the bucket is still there. अब क्या करोगी?
आप प्रभु जी सब कृष्णा पे छोड़ दिए, बस कृष्णा करेंगे, हमने छोड़ दिया.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair enough. Okay, Sakha Swarupa. Sakhi Swarupa, I'm sorry. Sakhi Swarupa, what do you say?
No, Prabhuji, I was just saying, aapka question ka answer, is it what you quoted yesterday and what Srila Prabhupada used to say, the cat carrying the kitten or the lion carrying the cub?
Kitten.
Two different
Kitten
ways
carrying the
for devote.
cat carrying the kitten.
Kitten carrying kitten, yeah.
Cat catching
Different
mouse.
way, right? So the cat carrying the kitten is the sufferings that devotees go through, and kitten catching the mouse is the sufferings that non-devotees go through.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. Anybody else? Acha, it's getting too noisy. Anybody else? All right. So as soon as you wake up, I'll start my answer. And one is that when a karmi starts face difficulties, what does a karmi do? When karmi is in trouble, what does a karmi do?
He
Blaming
goes to
on
the
others.
temple.
Well, okay. So a karmi normally doesn't blame, you know, he must do something. Maybe blame, but also do something about it. Right?
Go
That's
to
the karmi.
demigods, maybe.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go to demigods instead
That's
of going to
one.
Krishna.
Their own efforts to counteract whatever difficulty they're getting. You know, make
Yeah.
more plans to counteract the difficulties. Maybe go to somebody else for help, or many, many things. But basically, to counteract the bad karmas, they do some karma.
Charities, going to the temples, donations.
Well, that's not real karma. That's probably a devotee or karmi trying to be a devotee. But a real karmi doesn't go to the temple. He blames God.
He
And
leaves it. He leaves it to the Lord. That's all.
a karmi does? I didn't know that.
No.
Then it's not a karmi anymore. If he's depending so much on the Lord, he's not karmi.
He'll do his best.
Well,
He will maybe do his best to get into a better situation.
Well, yeah, that's my point. That is my point. So a karmi does further karma to get rid of the karma that's causing him trouble. Do you agree with that statement?
Mm.
Right? A devotee
Yes, Prabhuji.
doesn't do further karma, he does akarma, as Nana was talking about. Right? He goes to the Lord and starts doing more bhakti. So therefore, for future, there's no residue of this karma that he's facing right now. But for a karmi, there's lots of residues, it may sometimes even more. So the cycle continues for the karmi, but for the devotee, it's reduced if not eliminated, depending upon how many more karmas are left. Right? Does that make sense?
Prabhuji.
Okay. So that was one point I wanted to make.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So what about the karmas that a person do before coming into bhakti? Like, of course, we are not trained this way from childhood. So, you know, there are so many past things that are not done right. There are past things that are not, of course, you know, being done, keeping Krishna as the center of the life. So what happened to those?
Yeah. So that's a very good question. So it's not just those activities that you did before you became a devotee in this life, but also all the previous lives. So once again, I keep going back to the big bucket. You're still carrying the big bucket. So what happens is, Brahma Samhita, there's a very wonderful verse. It says, Karmani nidhati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. Pure devotional service burns all the karmas, good or bad. So you basically become karma free because all the karmas have been burned by devotional service, and you're okay to go back home to Godhead. That's what happens. So a devotee doesn't worry about how much karmas I've got accumulated. He simply focuses on devotional service, and Krishna says, no worries, I'll burn it all. So this big, huge torch that burns all the karmas, And then devotee is okay. Now I'm going. So both bad and good karmas are burned. Because even for good karmas, you have to come back. Right? Okay. Let's see. Is any other questions or comments?
Prabhu, could you define the definition of karmi and devotee?
Sure. A karmi is a person who's always endeavoring to perform activities with the expectation of some results. So you want to repeat it? A karmi is a person who performs activities in expectation of some results. On the other hand, devotee performs same activities, but only for the benefit and pleasure of the Lord. That's fundamental.
But not looking for results.
Right. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Any questions, comments? Otherwise, let's go to the next paragraph. It's a long one.
I can do it.
I'll read it, Prabhuji. Oh,
Okay.
you go ahead. Okay. This statement of Srimad Bhagavatam should be the guide of all devotees. A devotee should not expect immediate relief from the reactions of his past misdeeds. No conditioned soul is free from such reactionary experiences because material existence means continued suffering or enjoying of past activities. If one has finished his material activities, then there is no more birth. This is possible only when one begins Krishna conscious activities, because such activities do not produce reaction. Therefore, as soon as one becomes perfect in Krishna conscious activities, he is not going to take birth again in this material world. A devotee who is not perfectly freed from the resultant actions should therefore continue to act in Krishna consciousness seriously, even though there may be so many impediments. When such impediments arise, he should simply think of Krishna and expect his mercy. That is the only solace. If the devotee passes his days in that spirit, it is certain that he is going to be promoted to the abode of the Lord. By such activities, he earns his claim to enter into the kingdom of God. The exact word used in this verse is Daya Bhak. Daya Bhak refers to a sons becoming the lawful inheritor of the property of the father. In a similar way, a pure devotee who is prepared to undergo all kinds of tribulations in executing Krishna conscious duties becomes lawfully qualified to enter into the transcendental abode.
Right. So can you think of some examples of devotees who underwent all kinds of tribulations in executing Krishna consciousness?
Prahlad Maharaj?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Yes. Anybody else? More recent?
Prabhupada ji.
Hari Bol. Yes, Prabhupada ji. Yes, somebody was saying another name.
Guru Maharaj ji.
Guru Maharaj ji, yes. That's His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Any other names come to mind?
Jayapataka Maharaj?
Of course, absolutely. So yeah, so many such devotees, even in today's time, in ISKCON that we know of, are going through exactly the same thing. So that's one point. Second point is that it says whenever there are impediments in the performance of activities in Krishna consciousness, one should simply think of Krishna and expect his mercy. And that mercy is almost guaranteed when the effort is sincere. It's not guaranteed otherwise. Because there's still Krishna's mercy, Krishna's will. He can decide to give it, he can decide not to give it. But when the endeavor is sincere, this purity of the heart, Krishna feels obliged to give his mercy. It's almost like I can't help it. I love this person so much, I got to give it to him. Anyway, so that's the second point. Third point was that when a devotee is prepared to undergo any kind of tribulations in the execution of Krishna consciousness, he basically gets a visa stamped on his passport that says entry to transcendental abode allowed. And then the entry is guaranteed because you got the visa now. And it's not a visitor's, there's no such thing as a visitor's visa to go to Vrindavan. You know that, right? What's the nature of the visa to Golok Vrindavan in current parlance, like today's parlance? What's the word we use here?
Bhakti?
No. I'm talking about visa, different types of visa in Canada, USA. What's the word we use? Huh?
Permanent residence.
Permanent residence, PR.
Visa.
Absolutely. PR. There's no visitor's visa to Golok. It's always PR, permanent residency. You go there, Jad Gatvara Nivartante, Tad Dhamam Paramamam. You go there once and you're stuck there, except it doesn't feel like you're stuck there because you're having a great time there. Okay? Any questions on this paragraph? All right, let's go to remembrance. Who would like to remember the remembrance?
If no one, I can do. Prabhu.
I can do it, Prabhu.
Okay, whoever has not done it, go ahead. Somebody please go.
I can do it, Prabhu. Remembrance. Some way or other, if someone established in his mind his continuous relationship with Krishna, this relationship is called remembrance. About this remembrance, there is a nice statement in the Vishnu Purana, where it is said, simply by remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all living entities become eligible for all kind of auspiciousness. Therefore, let me always remember the Lord, who is unborn and eternal. In the Padma Purana, the same remembrance is explained as follows. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Krishna, because if someone remembers him either at the time of death or during the span of life, he becomes freed from all sinful reactions.
Yeah. So what's the main point being given? First, defining what is remembrance. Remembrance is the reminder or remembering the relationship between us and Krishna. Is our relationship with Krishna temporary or permanent?
Permanent.
Permanent.
Yeah, it's totally eternal. It's the relationship between the two eternals is always eternal. So soul is eternal, Lord is eternal, therefore the relationship has to be eternal. Anything else doesn't make any sense. So eternal relationship has been forgotten, hence the point of remembering. So when established in the mind that that relationship is a continuous relationship, being eternal in nature, that becomes remembrance. And Vishnu Purana says, simply by remembering the Lord, we get all kinds of auspiciousness. Therefore, we should always remember the Lord. What's the verse in Nectar of Devotion that we have not covered today yet? But it's the king of the instructions. What's the one instruction that's known as the king of the instructions?
Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna.
Never forget Krishna.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
That's the instruction. Smartavyo satatam Vishnu, vismartyo na jatachit, sarva with nishedasyu, etyor ev kinkara. All other instructions are servants to this instruction. We cannot remember any other instruction, just remember this one. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Now, a lot of people give all sorts of excuses for, oh, I don't have time to chant, I don't have time to serve, this, I got this impediment, I got that impediment. And the question is, okay, what can stop anyone from remembering Krishna in our mind? Is there any impediment, any obstacle you can think of in remembering Krishna in our mind?
Yeah, eating, then remembering, morning time woke up.
No, so what's stopping you from remembering?
Nothing, Prabhu.
Is there anything? Sorry?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Absolutely.
You could be doing other stuff and still remembering Krishna. Right? You could be eating, you could be driving, it could be, anything, but you could still remember Krishna and his pastimes. Okay? And this remembering, this serving is duty of all living entities. Savai punsam paro dharmo jato bhakti adhokshaja ahatuki apratihata yayatma suprishati. Right there in the first canto, Sutta Goswami says, that's our supreme duty. Okay? All right. So remembrance, because I'm going to talk about it one more time a little bit later. Meditation 46. Who wants to do meditation? Go ahead.
Meditation. To meditate means to engage the mind in thinking of the form of the Lord, the qualities of the Lord, the activities of the Lord, and the service of the Lord. Meditation does not mean anything impersonal or void. According to Vedic literature, meditation is always on the form of Vishnu.
Right. So very important that all these people, transcendental meditation and all this yoga people, they talk meditation, but they talk meditation on void. But meditation, according to the Nectar of devotion, is always on the form of the Lord. It's not a meditation if you're not meditating on the form of the Lord. If you're not thinking of the form of the Lord, or the qualities of the Lord, or the pastimes of the Lord, or the service to the Lord, then it's not meditation. Okay, meditation cannot be on impersonal. It's not about meditating on void or focusing on the sky or what is like that. Because as soon as you do that, what happens? You fall asleep. Okay, in Kali Yuga especially, but anytime it's not easy, Kali Yuga is not possible to focus our mind on void. But you can focus it on a form. You can focus on a quality. You can focus on a pastime. But you can't focus on void. Okay, so I just also realized that they're going to talk about 4 types of meditation. So let's look at the next paragraph. Let's see what it says. And they can tell me which kind of meditation is that one.
In the Narsimha Purana, there is a statement about meditation on the form of the Lord. It is said there, meditation focusing on the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead has been accepted as transcendental and beyond the experience of material pain and pleasure. By such meditation, even one who is grossly miscreant can be delivered from the sinful reactions of his life.
Right. So
In
what kind of
sorry.
meditation is that? On what? Meditation on?
On the feet, on the lotus feet of the
No, so it's on the
Krishna.
form, right? Feet is form. So it's called Rupa Dhyanam, which is meditation on the form of the Lord. Okay. All right. Next one. Who wants to read the next paragraph? If nobody, I think you can go ahead.
In the Vishnu, sorry, yeah.
In the
Go
Vishnu
ahead.
Dharma,
I'm
there is
sorry. Yeah.
In the Vishnu Dharma, there is a statement about meditation on the transcendental qualities of the Lord. It is said, persons who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness and who remember the transcendental qualities of the Lord become free from all reactions to sinful activities, and after being so placed, they become fit to enter into the kingdom of the God. In other words, no one can enter into the kingdom of God without being freed from all sinful reactions. One can avoid sinful reactions simply by remembering the Lord's form, qualities, pastimes, etc.
Right. So what's the message? First of all, what kind of meditation is this? Meditation on the
Qualities,
exactly. So
pastimes.
guna dhyanam of qualities. And the point being made is that those who remember the qualities of the Lord become free from all reactions to sinful activities. And it's only after we become free from sinful activities, as we discussed before, that we get that PR visa for Goloka Vrindavan. Okay, another point is, and I kind of made it up, everybody understands what smaran is, right? Smaran is in English. What's the English word for smaran? Huh?
Remembering,
Remember, yeah. And what's shravan?
Listening.
hearing,
Hearing, listening, yeah. And dhyan?
Meditating.
meditating.
So here's my saying. We smaran what we shravan, and we dhyan what we smaran. Should I say this again? We smaran what we shravan, and we dhyan what we smaran. So means everything starts with hearing. We remember what we hear.
Prabhuji, can you repeat it, please? I'm writing. Smarana?
So you want my version or the English version?
No, both.
Okay.
We were just doing, yeah.
Okay. So I was saying we smaran what we shravan.
Yes.
And we dhyan what we smaran.
Ah.
Which means we remember what we hear, and focused remembering becomes meditation.
Focus.
Or deep remembrance becomes meditation. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
All right. Let's do the next paragraphs. Ashoka Shabu, you can continue if you want with a small paragraph.
Yes, okay. In the Padma Puran, there is a statement about remembering the activities of the Lord. A person who is always engaged in meditation on the sweet pastimes and wonderful activities of the Lord surely becomes free from all material contamination.
Right. So whether it is the form, whether it is the qualities or the pastimes, meditating upon them, same result, which is get rid of all the sinful reactions, all the material contamination. Let's do the next paragraph also. Ashoka Shabu, go ahead.
In some of the Puranas, the evidence is given that if someone is simply meditating on devotional activities, he has achieved desired result and has seen face to face the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this connection, there is a story in the Brahma Vaivarta Puran that in the city of Prathishthanapur in South India, there was once a Brahmana who was not very well to do, but who was nevertheless satisfied in himself, thinking that it was because of his past misdeeds and by the desire of Krishna that he did not get sufficient money and opulence. So he was not at all sorry for his poor material position and he used to live very peacefully. He was very open hearted, and sometimes he went to hear some lectures delivered by great realized souls. At one such meeting, while he was very faithfully hearing about Vaishnava activities, he was informed that these activities can be performed even by meditation. In other words, if a person is unable to actually perform Vaishnava activities physically, he can meditate upon the Vaishnava activities and thereby acquire all of the same results. Because the Brahmana was not very well to do financially, he decided that he would simply meditate on grand royal devotional activities and he began this business thus.
Keep going.
Sometimes he would take his bath in the river Godavari. After taking his bath, he would sit in a secluded place on the bank of the river and by practicing the yoga exercises of pranayam, the usual breathing exercises, he would concentrate his mind. These breathing exercises are meant to mechanically fix the mind upon a particular subject. That is the result of the breathing exercises, and also of the different sitting postures of yoga. Formerly, even quite ordinary persons used to know how to fix the mind upon the remembrance of the Lord. And so the Brahmana was doing this. When he had fixed the form of the Lord in his mind, he began to imagine in his meditations that he was dressing the Lord very nicely in costly clothing with ornaments, helmets, and other paraphernalia. Then he offered his respectful obeisances by bowing down before the Lord. After finishing the dressing, he began to imagine that he was cleaning the temple very nicely. After cleansing the temple, he imagined that he had many water jugs made of gold and silver, and he took all those jugs to the river and filled them with the holy water. Not only did he collect water from the Godavari, but he collected from the Ganges, Yamuna, Narmada, and Kaveri. Generally, a Vaishnava, while worshipping the Lord, collects water from all these rivers by mantra chanting. This Brahmana, instead of chanting some mantra, imagined that he was physically securing water from all these rivers in golden and silver water pots. Thus, he collected all kinds of paraphernalia for worship: flowers, fruits, incense, and sandalwood pulp. He collected everything to place before the deity. All these waters, flowers, and scented articles were then very nicely offered to the deities to their satisfaction. Then he offered arati, and with the regulative principles, he finished all these activities in the correct worshipping method. He would daily execute similar performances as his routine work, and he continued to do so for many, many years. Then, one day, the Brahmana imagined in his meditations that he had prepared some sweet rice with milk and sugar and offered the preparation to the deity. However, he was not very satisfied with the offering because the sweet rice had been prepared recently and it was still very hot. This preparation sweet rice should not be taken hot. The cooler the sweet rice, the better its taste. So, because the rice had been prepared by the Brahmana very recently, he wanted to touch it so that he could know whether it was fit for eating by the Lord. As soon as he touched the sweet rice pot with his finger, he immediately was burned by the heat of the pot. In this way, his meditation broke. Now, when he looked at his finger, he saw that it was burnt. He was wondering in astonishment how this could have happened, because he was simply meditating on touching the hot sweet rice. He never thought that his finger would actually become burned. While he was thinking like this, in Vaikuntha, Lord Narayan, seated with the goddess of fortune Lakshmi, began to smile humorously. On seeing the smiling of the Lord, all the goddesses of fortune attending the Lord became very curious and asked Lord Narayan why he was smiling. The Lord, however, did not reply to their inquisitiveness, but instead immediately sent for the Brahmana. An airplane sent from Vaikuntha immediately brought the Brahmana into Lord Narayan's presence. When the Brahmana was thus present before the Lord and the goddess of fortune, the Lord explained the whole story. The Brahmana was then fortunate enough to get an eternal place in Vaikuntha in the association of the Lord and his Lakshmis. This shows how the Lord is all pervading, in spite of his being locally situated in his abode. Although the Lord was present in Vaikuntha, he was present also in the heart of the Brahmana when he was meditating on the worshipping process. Thus, we can understand that things offered by the devotees, even in meditation, are accepted by the Lord and they help one achieve the desired result.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Isn't that a wonderful story?
Yes.
Actually, there's a very similar story about Raghunath Das Goswami. Does anybody know that story? Silence means no.
Prabhuji, is it where Radharani brings the material to prepare the sweet rice?
No, that was Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami story. So basically,
Oh, okay.
Raghunath Das Goswami used to drink only one little bowl, like in Hindi they call it dona, patte ka dona, little bowl of buttermilk charge. That's it. All day, that's what he would drink. And so everybody knew that that's the kind of austerity he performs. And one day, he had some very serious stomach cramps. And it was so much pain that the villagers called a doctor and they said, please take a look at this Goswami. What's happened? So the doctor examined him and said he has an upset stomach because he probably ate too much sweet rice. And the villagers were shocked. They said, no, not possible. I mean, where will he get sweet rice from? He just drinks a small bowl of buttermilk and that's it. That's his total diet. So we cannot believe that he ever ate sweet rice. But the doctor was insistent that there's no way anything else can cause it. He must have eaten sweet rice. So then they said, okay, they asked Raghunath Das Goswami, did you somehow, somewhere found sweet rice to eat? And then he confessed that what happened was that in his mind, he decided to cook and offer sweet rice to the Lord. And after offering it in the mind, then in his mind, he also ate the sweet rice, because of which he got upset stomach because he drank it all. So just the whole thing happened in his mind, but the ailment was real. So just goes along the same line as the story we heard about the Brahmin who was preparing sweet rice for the Lord and his finger got burned. So basically, why is that? Why is that? Simply from meditating, the reality happens. And the reason is that devotional service is not on a material platform, it's on what you call absolute platform, the spiritual platform. So on absolute platform, there are no dualities. So therefore, there's no difference between performing an activity and meditating on the same activity. As a matter of fact, it is said that meditating on activity which is called Manasi Puja is superior to physical puja. And basically, therefore, meditating and performing physically are same. Just like Krishna's name and Krishna himself are non-different. Because same thing, Krishna and Krishna's name are on a spiritual platform, just like performance of devotional service or meditating on the Lord's name, quality or pastime, and therefore they're non-different. If you meditate on material things, then that's not the same thing as physical. It's like we cannot meditate on gold or silver and expect to have that in our position when we open our eyes. Because meditating on material things is false like a dream, which breaks when we open our eyes. But when we meditate on Krishna, it's not like a dream, it's true. Therefore, meditating on Krishna is not different from serving him directly, physically. And it doesn't matter what kind of deity of Krishna that you're serving. What I mean by that is deities can come in different forms. Actually, there are 8 different forms of deities. Does anybody know what they might be? Any ideas? Yeah, sand and what else? Oh, metal, gold, okay. Sand, just 2 I heard. Anything else?
9, I guess.
Sorry, say again?
9, I think is a mix it, then make marble, wooden.
Marble is like stone.
Huh?
Silver, gold.
Clay.
Yeah, clay, we did that, yeah.
And
Would you
5
use silver and gold?
5 tattva.
Sorry, one person at a time, please. Devi Mataji, finish what you're saying.
5 tattva, silver and
you're repeating it now.
brass.
Okay,
brass.
Don't repeat. No, well, brass is on the metal.
5 thing 5 चीजों को मिला के मिक्स बना के
5 धातुओं के बने
5 धातुओं के
Yeah, but they're still dhatu. They're still metal. There's 5 dhatu or 1 dhatu, still metal.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody else?
Paper.
Picture.
Paper.
Picture, yeah, picture. That's right. Yeah, what else?
Prabhuji, wood.
Wood, yeah, absolutely. Daru, yeah. What's the example? I know you said that. What's the example?
Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Maharani.
That's right. That's right. Okay, this 1, 2 missing. You said 7, I counted it. The 2 you didn't say, yeah.
Mind,
absolutely.
also.
That's
Mind.
8th, 7th. There's one more. Jewels. So you could have, those are the 8. So you have wood, you have metal, you have stone or marble, you have sand, you have painting or picture, you have jewels, you have mind, and you have clay. Those are the 8. So it doesn't matter which of these you're using, they have same potency. And whether we meditate on them or we perform actual activity, not different. Same result. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Oh, Prabhu, I didn't see you before. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Prabhuji. How are you?
Good, good, thanks.
So related question actually, like, will Saligrama also come under stone?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a very different kind of stone. But yeah, but it's considered stone.
Okay, okay.
Right, and you know that Shaligram Shila is considered installed deity, not just regular deity, installed deity. So very special.
Yeah.
That's why one should actually be second initiated before starting to serve Shaligram Shila. Some people take it very lightly, even though not initiated, they start serving. That's not good.
Okay. 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 Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome. Anything else? So what was the bottom line of today's class? What are you taking home?
Remember Krishna always and never forget it.
Yes, absolutely. That's very good. What else? What are some of the other main points you're taking?
In different ways we can meditate on Krishna, like different kind of meditation, roop, guna.
Very good. Yes, that's second.
Expecting Krishna's mercy is also a kind of limb of bhakti.
Absolutely. Do we have a right to expect?
We do if we are determined and sincere.
What did it say that gives you the right?
That statement.
Tatte anukampam, we talked about that.
Tattanukam.
What was that? That's when we wait. So when we wait for his mercy and not blame him for our misfortune, blame it on our own karma, we simply wait for his mercy. Then we become the rightful owner, and then we can actually expect that mercy. Okay, that's one other very critical point that I want to make sure nobody forgets, which is
hearing Prabhuji.
What about it?
Hear Krishna Katha always.
From whom?
From bona fide spiritual masters.
Okay, a pure devotee, yes.
A pure devotees.
And there's no difference between meditating and performing, because they're both on the absolute platform. So actually, when I travel, my wife and I,
meditate.
We meditate on our own deities, and we do all the services. So we do bhog, we do arti,
yes,
we do bathing, all that in our mind.
That's wonderful, Prabhuji.
So we can all do that. I mean, you don't have to be pure devotee. You can
Prabhuji,
be.
in odd times also, sometimes you are not at your house or in the temple, then you can also do that. Suppose, but traveling. Traveling is a good example.
Yeah, yeah.
Very nice.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions or comments? Okay, so I just want to also let you know, we will meet next week, but I'm leaving for India on 26th September. And I'll be gone for almost 2.5 months. So with your blessings, please bless me that I may spend 1 month in Kartik in Vrindavan. With your blessings, Krishna will make it possible. And then I travel a few other places before coming back.
And what are we going to do?
Come with me, Mataji. Come with me.
Prabhuji, you will take classes from there or no?
That's not going to be possible, Mother. It's too much time difference.
Time difference is there.
Also, you get busy with other activities. So, for example,
oh my God, 2.5 months is too much, Prabhuji. For us, not for you, for us.
But you can continue actually. There's no reason why. There's some very learned people on this call, and they should take the class.
Prabhuji, we are addicted to you.
Oh my God.
Exactly, सब कुछ भूल जाएंगे, सब कुछ भूल जाएंगे।
अरे नहीं, ऐसा मत करना, बड़ी मेहनत की हमने भाई।
अरे फिर कैसे, तो वहाँ आप याद करवाए हमें, आप प्लीज या साथ लेके चले हमें।
I'm more than happy. Let's all go together. It would be amazing if we all go to Vrindavan at the same time. That I invite you all to join me, please. That would be amazing.
We will join you, Prabhu.
Yeah. Yeah, please. I know. Yeah, that's right. You're coming anyway. Yeah, that's right. So we'll see you. That'll be great. And I know a couple other people.
When you will be back, Prabhuji?
December 5th.
Oh.
Prabhuji, we just learned it today, so mentally we'll come with you.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. What we learned today, we can do it. Yes.
But remember, coming with me is not a devotional activity. That's totally material.
No, to be in Vrindavan with you while you're performing the Kartik Sadhana.
Okay.
You are showing us the path, Prabhuji. We are following you.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, but we're still here for another 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks actually. So I was hoping that we'll finish the 19 chapters, but I won't be able to do that. We might be able to do 15 and then come back and do 4, and then we'll figure out. What to do after that. So give some thought to if there's something you want to do after the first 19 chapters of Nectar of Devotion. One of the possibilities is that we continue. I mean, I don't know why in ISKCON we just stop after 19 chapters. But really there's no reason that I'm aware of. So that's one possibility. Or something else. Or of course, you can always find something better to do than be with me here. And that's also a very viable option. But anyway, we can talk about that later. When we come back, we'll...
Prabhuji, while in India, please wear your mask, take care of your health, maintain good health.
Thank you.
Pray for all of us. Come back safely, Prabhu. Enjoy yourself and come back safely.
Thank you.
Mother is coming with you, right, Prabhu?
Yeah, I'm not allowed to go anywhere without her. You know that.
Okay, good. She's your best half, not even your better half.
But that's why she's the better half.
So. Yes, Prabhuji. Oh my God, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just be safe, Prabhu. You're going after COVID and no.
I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yes, I will try to be careful. And then Krishna's mercy. But I'm still here for another 4 weeks. So, we'll finish hopefully 4 more chapters before I go. I just want to let you know that that's the plan. And Isha, I hope I'll see you tomorrow also.
बताना ही नहीं था आपको ना, टेंशन हो गई है.
तो
आपको लास्ट वीक में बताना था.
चाहे आज हो चाहे लास्ट वीक में हो.
टेंशन हो गई प्रभु जी, वाकई टेंशन हो गई.
So at least I'm here for 4 weeks. You can talk to me. remove your tension. You remember what a rascal I am, and that all the tension will go away. Okay, all right. Isha, hope I'll see you tomorrow in the youth class.
Yes, see you tomorrow, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for today's class.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Okay, everyone, take care.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare
Thanks a
Hare
lot.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Acha
Thank you,
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji.
Jai
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
everyone.
Asha
Pam,
Kalakar
Pam,
Jai
Pam,
Kirpal
Thank
Sisi,
you all.
Jai.
Vaishnava Namo Namah.
बचे बचे पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
हरे
Hare
कृष्ण
Krishna.